I am Snakera, and I'm talking about a game from 2009, The Sims 3, the latest full release in the series. The Sims is a simulacrum of life where you control simulated humans called Sims. And for those who have never heard of the series, let me explain it for you in brief. You have people. You guide them through life, careers, love, improving skills, capitalism, all that good stuff. Then you buy expansion packs, thus taking part in capitalism yourself, not your little computer people. Then the next numbered title comes out, strips out everything you bought, and you start over with nicer graphics and some new gimmicks. And The Sims 3 is the most stripped out yet. But, I mean, it doesn't have a pool table. Also, the gimmick this time is DLC. Not that I can use the store because I pirated it for this review. I have an actual copy. Somewhere. Here's my copy of World Adventure. Essentially, all the interesting extras are removed, then re-added. Sims 3 sets the bar even lower by having less as a base package than Sims 2 did. Most of that can be recovered for a nominal fee. It's just your dignity. The main three facets of The Sims are building a house, creating Sims, and playing with their lives afterwards. I don't care too much for the first, due to having no architectural talent. Or much talent at all, to be honest, but I do like the lab because I can take out my talentless frustration on little computer people. And it's legal as well. Some people are really damn good with buildings, however, producing some really grand designs. I'm at least capable of building a functional Sims prison, so that's pretty much all I like to do with the game. Sim creation is creating Sims. New in 3 was the ability to give them something of a personality out of the gate. Well, you could do that before, but now it's simpler. Plus there are animations. And even more textures. In fact, textures are great, because I can do wondrous things, like have a hat with a zebra print, and the inside made of stone. Even more wondrous things await you, Rockman. And here's his wife, where I tried to make a colourful abomination, and got bored halfway through. The Sims 1 was isometric and had very little aging. The Sims 2 is a sequel in 3D that had full-on aging. And The Sims 3 is a prequel to Sims 1 with 3D and full-on aging. Yes, prequel. Chronology is naturally very important in a freeform sandbox game, especially considering someone uninvented the laptop. Saying that, the preset families have backstories. But I honestly have never touched them. If you enjoy them, good on ya, not my thing. Plus, seeing as technology improves with each iteration, I can therefore presume the Sims universe is actually regressing, thereby making The Sims Medieval actually the endpoint of the series chronologically. Doesn't matter though. No one cares about Medieval. This is a juice bar. Your Sims can get their steroids from it. This is a sofa. It is where your Sims can sit in comfort. At some point in this review I cheated to buy an item, and then spent the leftover cheap money building a rocket ship out of bookshelves. So, what do you do in The Sims? Well, you click on stuff. Then boxes open up showing a variety of verbs. Then you click on one of them and a Sim carries it out. This carrying out of the verb fills up several bars that decrease gradually over time, some lethal if emptied, some not. This design choice was lifted directly from hit game The Ship, and it gives the game a much needed element of danger. I can't count the spikes in my blood pressure as hunger reaches a critical state. In The Sims 3 you can now wander freely about town with no loading, and your neighbours age and die with you, which makes killing them both easier and harder. Because you can now outlive them, or they may die before you get a chance to kill them, depending on your outlook on life. So a feeling of neighbourhood is the focus. In my opinion, it does make the world feel more alive. When I was a wee boy playing The Sims 1, I did always get a feeling that the home existed in a void. Because it did. You can wander freely to any neighbour and interrupt them while they're doing something important, like sitting down. On note of that Sims aging with you comment, this is titled Story Progression, and the default in the game is not exactly all that good, or so I've heard. Liable to corrupt saves and such. So there are fan mods to increase its viability, but I haven't used them. Aspiration points are still in the game, but now they possess the more cumbersome title of Lifetime Happiness Points. And now, rather than buying objects, you can mutate your sim into a superhuman being. You get these points by fulfilling random want pop-ups. Honestly, it doesn't interest me all that much. It's just a few minor stat changes, and at the bottom of the list there are a few extra unlockable items that can help you in certain ways. But there's nothing game-changing in there. Fears are removed and have been replaced with positive and negative moodlets. Modifiers to your overall mood, and This is a strange sentence, but I have to say it streamlines happiness. And also, the outside is now littered with things to collect, like seeds, butterflies, bugs.
Oh, Igla. Stito.
Metals and gems. There are meteorites too. Plus you can go fishing. Most of it is just more clutter for your house, or a bit of extra dosh. Seeds can grow some extra food for extra effects, and with fishing you can make stuff like ambrosia, allowing your Sims to outlive their children. While recording footage of me finding crap around town, I spotted this car. This was my greatest find in that hunt. To get back into the game to make this review, I primarily played this family. The Zebra Texture bloke was the writer, his wife an aspiring world-renowned surgeon, and I played pretty normally. For the sake of making the husband look well-read, I scattered books everywhere. The wife was actually a serial murderer who could create walls of her mind around house guests. You gotta have a gimmick. This, however, cost money directly from their bank account. That was a bit of a trade-off there. The game has no punishment for such actions, well, aside from the minor if you're having a fucking cluttered house. Bloody books. Ultimately, I grew bored of the murder because there's no real consequence for such actions. You may get a ghost. Ghosts don't really count because they're ultimately harmless, especially if you don't give a stuttering fuck about the happiness of your Sims. The game is made to be quite simple, streamlined and inoffensive, so everything is really inconsequential. It's understandable in a game like this not to want to screw the player over or punish them too much, and it takes that philosophy to the point that you need to work harder to actually make the game tell you, essentially, to keep playing. It works both ways, however. Every time I played the Sims games, I stopped playing once I hit my comfort zone. Once you reach the point in the game you've worked towards, it doesn't really feel like I'm advancing anymore. Then you can only go back and regain ground, or set yourself a new random goal. That's what I felt, ultimately. I'd hit a point where the game just felt the same over and over again. I mean, my net worth rose, but none of the more expensive items seemed any more enticing to me. That said, I found myself playing longer than I expected, despite going in trying to make a jokingly negative review. I did end up just playing normally for a few hours. In an automaton kind of way, mind you. It was an unconscious reaction to the game playing in front of me, rather than a mentally active state. However, at some point during recording footage for this video, I just wasn't having any fun anymore. I thought of creating a new family, starting again, but I just didn't want to go through the opening drudgery again of getting everything set up. I could have tried an alternative playstyle or tried a different career, but with a different career it's just the same shit with different titles and descriptions to me. And a different playstyle is just, you know, making it harder or simpler. It's still the same base gameplay, and that's where I had lost interest. To enjoy The Sims, that's good for you. I've lost the patience for it. To me, it's become tedious. I made a joke earlier on that you just point on stuff, click on it, and then watch an animation and watch a skill bar change, or a stat bar change, rather. And I realised that boiling any game down to its base mechanics like that could make it sound boring. Hell, you could pretty much describe Medieval 2 Total War the same way, and that is one of my favourite games. So, what can I say about The Sims 3? Well, it made me just have a depressing realisation as I was talking. And enable aging, and crank that shit up. Oh, I'm done. And, oh yeah, Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.